This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to our, what are we calling these? Our pre-qualification package of documents in line with the Ministry of Public Works Construction Stimulus Program. Okay, the aim of this session is pretty simple. We have analyzed the documents for submission. We've divided them into two virtual sessions, information sessions. One is a general docs. This is it. This is of a non-financial nature. All of the other, all of the pages, Tika Gilbert of Tika Gilbert Architects has designed a presentation to be able to share, to be able to provide ideas and strategies to be able for you to best complete the series of documents that are outlined within Appendix D, aptly titled the checklist. So we have in the chat off to the side where you can find those documents if you haven't seen them yet. So you can go right into our site. We've programmed it so that the stimulus package, the stimulus program comes right up. Just click right through and you'll see all the documents, Appendix A, B, C, but D is the main one. The submission documents are clearly outlined within Appendix D. That is our focus here this evening. I'm also joined by Katina Weeks. Katina is going to be supporting us with this particular program. Now, just a bit of qualification in regards to into why we're here and how this all works. So the Ministry of Public Works, this is their program, their funding, their mechanism, and we're partnering. We're actually partnering with them, the BDIC, to be able to help them promote the program. We've been doing that over the last days or so, whether that's Royal Gazette, radio, certainly out to our database, social media, radio interviews and the like. And so we think we've done a good job with that. And certainly to be able to follow up with these information sessions. And so we've really looked at it from a customer service point of view to be totally convenient for you. And so just in case you don't know, the general doc session, we started this morning at 9 o'clock. We also had a 2 p.m. session. This is our last 6:30 session. So 3 times per day, again tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. 12 information sharing opportunities for Bermudian contractors, maintenance, service practitioners, all sorts of construction tradesmen. If you're in construction, whether it's architectural, engineering, then, and if you want to, hey, I've never done this before, sounds interesting, let me show up. This hour is for you to be able to design a quality submission to the Ministry of Public Works. We've also pulled out the financial / rates, labor rates piece of the checklist, Appendix D, and said, hey, that's a whole, kind of sharing information session in itself. And so we have a second, virtual session that is being led by Joyce Hayward of Fusion for Business. We just finished with her at 6:30. We're back on with her at 7:30 after this session. And Joyce is doing a 5 p.m. and 7:30 financial labor rates virtual info session, again tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So 8 sessions with Joyce, 12 with Tika to complete a week-long BDIC's outreach to say, hey, here's how we can support you with this pre-qualification package of documents. Okay, and all of this is on our website, bedc.pm. So we are on the information, these virtual sessions only after you submit your documents to the Ministry of Public Works' portal, their email where they are asking that you submit. It is totally in the Ministry of Public Works machinery, nothing to do with BDIC. We have no part in decision making. We are not a part of any matrix understandings and who's going to get what and not. That is totally on the Ministry of Public Works, and we are on an educational and information platform, and that's how we're were with you today. Just before we hand over to Tika, we have a chat on the side there, so you can unmute yourself, ask any questions, or you can just drop it in the chat, and Katina and I are going to be monitoring that. I believe questions, Tika, I'll leave it to you, whether you want to break halfway through or whether you want to just run it through the end. We can do our Q&A at that particular point. Good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Tika, it's all on you.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you, William, for introducing me. So we'll go ahead with the presentation. Before we run through, what I've done to present this submittal. I've created a virtual construction company specializing in excavating and construction. And I've used some of the logistics for that to complete this document the best way possible. So as we understand, when you pick up your information package, everything is in single file. So if you want to type anything in, what you do is scan all your documents, save it as a PDF file, and in the PDF, you will have an option to edit any of the text or use the sign icon to type in any further information. So the company I've created is called Sloan Dixon Construction, and I'm just going to go over the documents listed below. So starting off with our covering letter. What you see on the left is what you get in your packet. We advise you to fill it out by hand or save it as a PDF file and type in any information that's required. Additionally, what I've done on the side, which is not necessary, but I've done it, is created a letter using my company logo and added a few extra lines to help sell my business in construction and excavating to the other companies. So we'll start with submission form. The submission form is just the basic information that is required. That's gonna give you any contact information for your company. The main information that we have here is your social insurance number and your payroll tax. These are important information that's required. Alternatively, you've got other information here, contact email, website, and any phone numbers that's required. As far as the addenda is concerned, this is just information that's given by Public Works, and with you filling out this information, it just lets them know that you've received all the information that they have issued, and if you are missing any information. As conflict of interest, this is just to make sure that you are not receiving any information in relation to the submittal that will give you an advantage to the project. Disclosure of information, this is just to let you know that some of the information that you provide may be accessible to the public. And what you do here is just to sign off on that information, just to let them know that you understand what you are up against. Appendix C, Certificate of Confirmation of Non-Collusion. This is just to make sure that you are not engaged in any fixed pricing. So the Public Works Department wants to make sure that all rates and quotes are competitive and everything is done fairly. Next, we'll go to our company profile. The company profile form, it gives Public Works all the information they need to know about your company and what you provide. Again, my company, Sloan Dixon Construction, we are excavating and construction company. And so we've given a brief description of what the company does, our primary contact information. And then we just briefly discuss product and service details. What sectors do we usually build in? Our capabilities. And then what differentiates us from other companies. Just letting them know that we are efficient and provide quality service. And feedback from our clients let us know that we have given them 100% customer satisfaction. Our quotes or tenders that go out, they have no hidden costs, there's no surprises. And our projects are completed on time. As far as the delivery time is concerned, it depends on the scale of the project. You want to add anything, William?
I think you've hit it, Tika. I'll just say a general comment in regards to minimal submission and creative freedom. I'll just save that to the end.
Okay. So section 3 talks about the company's experience and professional technical staff. The first section talks about the relevant experience. So what they do is they're asking you to provide 3 examples and just talk about the previous experience, clients, any success stories. And what you'll find maybe is that there's not enough space to talk about these experiences or the client. So what I've done, which I will show later, is I've provided additional information, created not a new form, but a different attachment. And then as far as the key personnel, again, you may not have enough space to talk about the key personnel's experiences, education, and certificate. I would advise to attach a sample as a CV, and I've created one as well. So here's my sample CV. Sean Dixon, the managing director with the company logo. This just gives a brief description of the educational qualifications, any positions that they've previously held, and where they've worked to before, and also as a rundown of all their experiences, qualifications. Section 4 asks us to provide three projects and talk and give any references towards these these projects. In addition to this, what I've done is shown a sample reference letter. In addition to the sample reference letter, I've also created a portfolio sample, and the portfolio sample just elaborates a bit more on the customer experience. So here's a brief client reference for the company. This is one of 3 of the portfolio pages. This is, I think, is a good attachment to have with your company profile, just showing an image, 1 or 2 images of work completed that will show visual quality of the work, the client, completion date, the value of your project, and the sector that the project is in. In addition, a bit of blurb, just something very quickly to just explain the project. I've shown 2 additional projects, and these projects, all 3 projects, relates back to the customer experiences. In addition, these 3 projects are very different in scale, and they're quite different in this sector. So that would be interesting for Public Works to see, you know, what other areas of work that you can provide. The company interest, this is just a checklist of all the work that you can provide, any work that you will be interested in doing for Public Works. If there's anything that you really cannot do, do not highlight it, do not tick it, just tick whatever you are capable of doing and whatever interests you. Local benefits, this is one of the latest forms. The local benefits, social and economic and environment. This is pretty much stating any about your business and if it's Bermudian or not. There was a few questions about specified business, and I believe, and William, you can correct me, that there will be an addendum issued to speak or elaborate on specified business a bit further.
Yes, that's correct. They came out of our earlier sessions, and the addendum, which will most likely be published on Thursday, will speak very clearly to the specified business section on this particular page under local benefits. Yeah.
Okay. So to discuss any further, Public Works looks at the number of employees in your company, and the more Bermudians you have, the more they use it as an advantage because they feel like you are investing in the future of Bermuda. This page talks about if you're able to provide any apprenticeship or training opportunities for Bermudians. In most cases, some people are not able to do it because the company is too small, and some other companies can provide it. And what I've noted here is done on number 10 is as the company is growing and larger contracts are awarded, we have the ability to advertise and support any Bermudians requiring any internship. So even if you have not done it, if you feel like you can in the future, you can just note it down as an additional line. Again, they want to know how are you involved in Bermudian business. So what you can do is specify that you're purchasing from local providers such as Gorham's and SAL, and then invest in any other subcontractors when needed. We'll move down to the health and safety, sustainability, and environmental policies. Some companies may have these policies within their company. Some may not. Usually, the smaller companies don't have it. But if you do not have it, it's fine. You don't need to submit it. These documents are quite important. So you need to make sure that if you are submitting it, that is something that you've thought about and you've spent quite a bit of time. It's not anything that you just want to throw in your documents. So I've just shown something very brief on the health and safety policy, sustainable goods and services policy, and the environmental policy. Something very brief. And that is the end of our presentation.
Okay, thank you, Tika. Straight to the point, not too scary, requires a bit of focus and certainly thought in some areas if you haven't given this type of information any thought before. So Tika, just to kind of underscore my earlier point that I said I was going to wait till you finish, can you go back to your cover letter? Yeah, so Ministry of Public Works is interested in a minimal submission. A minimal submission could be a handwritten submission. Tika has obviously manipulated the PDF to be able to provide electronic inputs, and that gives her some creative freedom to do things like what you see on the right. She's added a logo. She's almost made the cover letter almost like as if you would be engaging in a job interview. She's added, if you look at the second paragraph, you know, we are a trusted company on the right, proudly assisting. So she's used that opportunity with this particular covering letter to be able to start right away with branding and selling her company and her business. Yeah. All of you have an aim, and it is to be successfully pre-qualified, that you make the cut, and I'm sure you will, to be on Ministry of Public Works pre-qualification listing. And so you enter the next phase, the next round of consideration in regards to next steps with the stimulus program funding, this package of works, this bidding, however they're going to do it. Again, it's nothing to do with BDIC. After you submit your documents, it's totally on them. Now, the minimal submission, though, and we just want to kind of give you and be very clear on this, the minimal submission is say, hey, that's all fine, but hey, I'm totally busy. I've got so much work on, but obviously I want to get my package in, and you do it handwritten, and you provide, you know, your signature, title, phone number on the left side, and you just handwrite that out. That's a minimal submission. You've hit the mark. You know, that's the standard. But if you want to flex to the right, to be able to say, hey, I want to, and you can, there are some possibilities, there are some opportunities that you can do that. And Tika has shown you how to do it. Now, on the first couple of slides that she had up, there was one way to do it, Acrobat Reader, edit function, this, that, and the other. Now, if you're saying, well, that's still, I'm not even sure if I got Acrobat, but no, I'm not even sure I can do it. That's not my thing. I just want to, okay, then you have a few choices. Perhaps a significant other, niece, nephew, uncle, brother, someone, a loved one or a friend away in school. And you can ship this thing to say, hey, this is my information. I need you to work your magic and get this back to me by X date. Boom, there you go, in your inbox, done. So you farm it out for free or for a fee. If you want to be able to embrace the opportunity to move from the handwritten document electronic, either you have the skill to do it or you don't. You can easily learn, or you don't, you can pay, great. Okay, just want to make that very clear, that the Ministry of Public Works is totally open to you taking the documents, rejigging them, re-engineering them, and providing a submission in line with what you see on the right. And they are totally fine with accepting submissions of a handwritten nature, of which you just fill in what they ask. So I just want to be very, very kind of clear with that. Now, Tika, if you can go to your portfolio of works so I can just finish this point. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, go back to where you speak about the works. Right. I'm sorry, go back one more, right here. Right. Okay, now look, section 3, relevant experience. Just be sensitive to how you link together your submission and the information that you're putting without the whole, within this whole pre-qualification docs package. So Tika tees it up right here, relevant experience. Second phase of redevelopment, this Oakland's college job in this first paragraph you see here under section 3. Then she talks about Lisa Roberts, construct a garden wall. She speaks to it. Now, if you want to elaborate more, this is just 1 or 2 sentences per job. You might say, well, hey, I've had some really interesting work. I've been pretty fortunate. And 1 or 2 lines is not going to do it justice. Well, of a handwritten nature, just put an asterisk, a note, see attachment, see additional information, and then you write out, if you're doing a handwritten submission, you write out to say, hey, this is my supplementary information that adds on to the relevant experience box here, because that's not enough. And you attach it in your submission and you scan your whole package back, which of course would be making sure you hit 100% what they're asking you, with additional pages as needed. Manual submission. Now, if you want to bust out of this box here and say, Tika's just kind of made it fit in the box. And that's the advantage of having it, having it digital, where you can squeeze more in less. Handwritten, not so much. And then what she's done, she's connected it tightly, linked it, yeah? Really joined it up with, now Tika, if you can just go to your images, your pictures. Right. And so with the digital submission, could you more cleanly add additional pages and graphics and images? Sure. Could you still do it on a manual where you print out the picture if you have it and get the picture on this separate piece of page and then write on top of the graphic or the image? Sure, you could. The choice is yours. It's all about the submission, the quality submission that you want to provide. I just want to make it very clear: handwritten, acceptable; digital, electronically re-engineered, totally. And you have some your creative liberties can be exercised within both formats. We're just giving you options, showing you opportunities, and to be able to kind of put it in perspective. But your submission, your business, your brand. Okay, so we got our executive director on, Erika Smith. Erika, happy to have you.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at 6:59. Tika, I think we're doing great time-wise. Let's just kind of setting the stage with that. Any questions? Any comments? Michelle White, going back to the CV, how deep in the company profile of employees should you go in submitting proof of experience? How deep in the company profile of employees should you go in submitting proof of experience? Good question. So perhaps Tika, as a setup for that, you want to go back to your CV, being that Michelle is specific to that. Okay, Tika, did you want to weigh in on that?
Let's look at the question. Going at the CV or deep in the company profile. As far as the company profile, I would just submit if it's 2 or 3 of your main key workers. I will submit them and submit their CV, and usually you will go back for the past 3 years, any projects in the past 3 years. I wouldn't go any more than that, because you want to keep it at 1 page. Put as much information that you can that will fill up 1 page. No more than 2.
Yeah, and I would just add, this is where CV resume writing skills come in, right? So Michelle, this is up your alley, and every word is strategic, it's purposeful, and it achieves an aim. So where you got 5 words and where you can use 1, I mean, let me be blunt. If resume writing or is not your forte, then and if you want to include a CV, then who around you can help you wordsmith that, so that in line with Tika's, you got 3 years, you got your key employees, certainly you got yourself to talk about. You can all make it sing within 1 page, but you got to know what you're doing, and it's got to come alive. And so, Michelle, do you want to say a few words about your business? Because there might be 1 or 2 on the horn here that might be able to use you.
Sure, thank you, William. Yes, I'm the owner of ExecuTemps. I offer administrative services, and certainly I'm participating in all of these workshops just so I can get a feel on what is expected. And certainly if there's any employers who are needing assistance administratively, me and my team will be in a position to be able to assist. And like you said, the resume is a very important factor. I'm looking at the sample that's here, and it can make or break the submission at the end of the day. So, we're here. Like I said, the name of the company is ExecuTemps, and PEDC has my contact details. Thanks, William.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I could see some linkage with, I mean, this is next level, right? This is pure, just creative, right? Could you clearly, legibly, and in your face link the CV to that other submission that we just talked about, where Tika talked about relevant experience and had the 3 jobs written out that are also reflected in the resume, that also connect to the images and the work portfolio? I could see that. I could, whether it's through coloring, whether it's through highlighting, like for instance, if you gave the job a name, right? I remember one was a name. I can't recall the particular projects, but if you had the project name, like for instance that retaining wall with the little fire pit, if that was Smith family garden wall with fire pit, blam, that Lisa Roberts garden wall with fire pit. Yeah, I'll make that a bit bigger. I'll give it a little color code. This is simple. This stuff that you can do. You don't need a graphic designer to do it for you. But if you threw it to a graphic design, I'm sure it could come even, you know, it would be wow. But Lisa Roberts garden wall, big, blasted, and that was the same branding of that, just that Lisa Roberts garden wall that was in your resume, you know, as experience, you know, in terms of, you know, your CV. And then Lisa Garden Wall was in the relevant experience, and that was branded in a certain way. Then after that, it was just type, connection, purposeful. You know, the spear is all headed one way for one aim, for one goal. And for this particular goal, ladies and gents, you know, it's their pre-qualification success. So you can step into round 2. Any other questions, comments?
Hi, William. I don't know if I came on like a minute later, but I think it would be helpful to explain what the pre-qualification, like what exactly is it, and then how does a tradesman or a construction firm, what happens after pre-qualification?
Yeah, we touched on that, but we can go through it again. You know, redundancy is good. Pre-qualification is the process that you are going through now. The Ministry of Works wants to ensure that those on a special list have their approved skills, knowledge, abilities, experience. All these things, we're sure, are in a matrix of decision making. So, assumedly, as they tell us, they got $13–14 million of works to push into the Bermudian economy as a stimulus, jumpstart for the construction industry. Good. And what they like to do, instead of going out and getting God knows who to say, hey, we got these garden walls and demolition and construction and, you know, renovation of this building here and there, and God knows who apply, they want to have a pre-qualified listing. And they want to focus that on small and medium-sized business. So the specified business that we talked about earlier, it's just simple to say, hey, this is for a specified business. Are you one? Yes, tick. And a small business is sales under $1 million. You know, then I'm asking for your P&L, your income statement to prove that at this point. And you say, yeah, I'm a small business, you know, under 10 employees and got some payroll taxes and other barometers there for criteria, but mostly it's, you know, revenues and employees. Or I'm a medium-sized business, my sales are under 5 million. Yeah, tick. And so this package of works is for me, not for big business, not for anybody over 5 million. Yeah, okay, just keep it simple like that. And for those businesses, the Ministry of Works has hived off a chunk, a body of work of a range, which ideally would be within that listing that you check. Yep, slurry walls, that's me, retaining walls, small renovations, that listing of work that you're going to check that Tika spoke to that says, hey, it's not about ticking it all, and make sure what you tick you can do and you have perhaps done that you can show some experience. And so when they look at their work, we don't know what that is and how it's, you know, how much is 20,000, 50,000, 75, I don't know. We don't know. That's within their machinery. And as they review their body of work that make up this 13 million, and they look at your submission, and assuming you're pre-qualified with landscaping and gardening, then those jobs that they have in landscaping and gardening within the 13 million, they're gonna invite you to, once you get pre-qualified, they're gonna invite you to bid on them. And so that's it in a nutshell of, and I didn't explain it like that, Arika, so thank you for the segue to kind of, you know, if we had Robert on the line and the interviews and all the things that we've done, we kind of talk about this, but that's how we understand it. That's why this pre-qualification list is important. Unfortunately, there will be those that perhaps won't get pre-qualified for whatever reason. Is it to be expected that 100% of people that submit an application package to be, this pre-qualification will be accepted? Perhaps. Real world, kind of maybe not, for whatever reasons. So that's why we've gone the extra mile within these virtual sessions to be able to uncover every stone to say, hey, here's the minimal submission. Here's how you, if you want to go and add and, kind of create higher impact, here are some ways maybe that you can do it. The relevant experience, the job portfolios, and how you can link all that together. And I would think that, personally speaking, but I don't know, you give a quality submission, you've got experience, you've done great work, you've got client testimonials, you might want to go back and pick up and say, hey, Ms. Smith, I did this show up for you 2 years ago. I didn't get anything from you. Mind if I take a quick picture of it and you can write me a brief little something because I want to submit it. I want to have that within my pre-qualification package. Great. And so that's a bit about what this is all about. And BDIC is just doing what it does best, which is provide superior customer service to support you with a great submission. Does that answer the question, Enrique?
Yes, I think that's helpful and offers some clarity. I had another question, and I was just wondering. I can't remember which one of the forms, but where it asks around payroll tax and social insurance, does it ask if you are up to date with that, or is it just asking for the numbers? And I guess my follow-on question, if you are not up to date, but you have a payment plan, should you submit the payment plan letter? I'm curious.
That's a good question. And we after the first session, the 2 o'clock session this afternoon, we took it to the side and engaged Public Works on that very same question. We don't have to wait till a question comes up to know, it's on entrepreneurs' minds. Okay, so the short answer is this. They are encouraging all construction businesses that are interested in the stimulus opportunity to apply. This is for you. They want to ensure that as much of this money as possible goes to individuals that would perhaps normally be considered. Hence, the partnering with us to push it into the community in the deepest corners to ensure everyone knows about it. That's the overarching goal of what's happening here. Now, to answer the question, everyone is encouraged to apply. If you have arrears, and certainly in these COVID times, probably a lot of businesses have arrears, but is it 3 months, 6 months? Is it 10 years? I don't know. I wouldn't be, from what I've been told, don't worry about that. They're not telling you here that they're gonna do a financial check and they'll know who's what. I mean, just government, BDIC included, when it comes down to the public purse and, lending money, and whether it's bid or tenders, there's always a financial check somewhere along the lines. And so the short answer, straight to the point, is if you have arrears, that will be looked at on a case-by-case basis. Maybe it's, and we'll talk to them about that. So, Rick, I've noted that, if you don't have a payment plan in place, maybe because we're partnering with them, we're going to bring this question, because I raised it at 2 o'clock. I got to look, it's not a problem, case-by-case basis. Could it be a scenario by which you're awarded a $35,000 contract, tender, bid, successfully have it, and they say, hey, look, this arrears payroll tax. Because it's at this level, what we like you to do, consider, is maybe put 2% towards it. Now, if you're going to walk away with 98, 97, 96%, and you're going to pay it anyway, and you're behind, could you see yourself making a couple $1,000 payment to payroll tax, get yourself sorted with that, got a little breathing room, and skip on down the road with that 96%. And so something like that may happen on a case-by-case basis, but the information that I've got is not going to go away because you got arrears or a debt within payroll tax, social insurance. That is not the goal. And we've noted it again today to create a highway with that and put a bit more structure around that so that we can say with all certainty that that is totally not an issue. And maybe even on a case-by-case basis, what does case-by-case, I'm just writing that down, what does case-by-case look like? And can we help define that to say maybe it is something of a very painless, of a no-brainer type of way that can allow you to do some great work, get paid, and at the same time, you know, obviously the government obligations are being handled and embraced in a respectful way. It's not my understanding. It is not a concern. That's not an issue. It's not going to be a deal breaker. Okay. Anything else, Erika? Anything else? Anyone else?
I did have another question. Sorry. No, that was a helpful explanation. My question was around the submission. How you might have spoken about this already. Sorry if I missed it. How
No,
should the submission be made, and by when?
Yeah. What do you mean? How should it be made? Should it just define that?
Is it
Sorry.
an email submission? Sorry. Do they have to drop a hard copy at the Ministry of Public Works? Is it both?
Yeah. Yeah. So that all that information is tell you what. Let me do this right now. Okay, all that information, I'll speak to the hard copy digital last. So we're going into our website. As soon as you pop up, there we go. Learn more. Okay, so it's all about it right there. If you haven't seen it already, information sessions. Obviously, you know, we're in the 6:30 session now. Okay, now Ministry of Works web portal. And we're in, right? Okay. So this is the deadline. It's been pushed back. We encourage them to push it back. Deadline for questions. So we're going to finish these sessions, yeah, on the 22nd, Friday. And so the following Tuesday, it's any questions you have through us, we'll forward them on, or to Ministry of Public Works directly. Any relevant material questions, they're going to wrap into this addenda. And that's just a communication to say, hey, all bidders, you want to be aware of this because this is an important question. And that's the first, and then you've got, say, 2 weeks after that, that's the deadline. Now, we're talking about Appendix D here. This is all what we talked about, you know, and so if you look at the addendum, this is what's out now in regards to the Q&A, the questions and answers that are in so far. So this is addenda 1. These are the questions that they've come up that you want to be aware of at this particular point. Another addenda 2 might be out on Thursday, to my understanding, but you just monitor this link, this URL through our website. That's how I got there, and you will be apprised of any addenda. Now, Erika's part of our first question here. Can the forms be made available in original format so they can be filled? No, there's no fillable forms. They can be printed, filled, and scanned. That does not, in our opinion, now we've mentioned this, and so this will be an addenda 2. We said, well, yeah, that says that you can print and fill it how? You can digitally fill it, or you can manually fill it, i.e. do a handwritten submission, and then scan it back. Okay, but let's be specific on that and tell people that if they want to electronically manipulate forms, that is totally fine. And if they want to add pages, that is totally fine. And then obviously you want to save it as a PDF. Are you going to scan it back, or are you just going to send a PDF in the mail? So what does that mean by scan? So it's a bit of can be potentially confusing there, and we just want to ensure that everyone is very clear on the inner workings and hidden mechanisms of a printed version and a digital version. And I've covered that at great detail during the session, Erika. So everyone in this session is, I think, is quite aware of the opportunities with manual submissions and what they can do and how they can go about an electronic submission. Any other questions? Go ahead, Erika.
Oh, no. I don't think I was clear. When they make the final submission to submit their documents, is the submission being accepted through email? Is it a hard copy drop to Public Works, or is there a requirement for both to be done? That's all.
Yeah, it's all here in regards to how it is right here. This is about the pre-qualification session. Physical hard copies available at the reception desk. And you replace the reception. Any contractors need to complete prior to collecting the documents. The contact will be register their interest by their interest with the RFSQ contact by emailing their company name. Be posted. It's all here in regards to the addenda. Response forms are not to be submitted to us. They can be submitted hard copy to the Mr. Attila Fostos envelope, or this prior to the deadline at the office, or they can be mailed in to stimulus. No, that is, yeah, this is, I think it's, and this may be clarified as well, Erika. That's a good question, but my understanding is stimulus at gov.up, so that's the contact. Attila is the principal receiver. Any addenda goes to there as well. You got the deadline dates. Any addenda is going to be posted here. We just looked at that. That's what it's going to look like. They're just going to keep running these questions on. So yeah, that's it. But maybe that's an area, if it's not clear now in terms of the point of contact and submission, maybe that can be a little clearer. Submission, email, and whatnot. I think it's fairly clear now, but just want to be sure. But it's stimulus at gov. Anything else? Anything else? Okay. So Tika, I just want to thank you again. Thank you. Started your business late last year. All the best to you as you grow your business. Keep us in mind, BDIC, if we can be of any help, any assistance, any support.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gents, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.